Alright, so little technical problems earlier when I was working on this one. The mic setting wasn't set up right and nothing was being recorded audio wise, so I had to do a voiceover. One thing that I was saying about this piece was that I was going to change the wind effect, and take a quick look here. So that was the original. That's how I originally had it set up. But I did find the actual wind brush that I was looking for. It's just that it was really set at a low one, like a low nib. So it wasn't coming out the way I liked it. And I believe what I did with this one is that I made it white. And what it does, the way it works, is that whatever you have as set up as your primary color would be the inner part, and then the secondary color would be the outer part. I think that's how it works. Let me give it a test right now. Yes, I was right. So the black is the outside and the white is on the inside. But if I were to do white, it would just make it white like that. It's kind of interesting. Make it black, it'll be white on the inside. So I think whatever color you pick here, so let's say if I make that one red, the interior is white, but if I make this a black, that's weird. Okay, I might be wrong. Oh, there we go. So whatever color you actually pick on top is going to be the outline. Alright, so enough of that. You live and learn. It's the best way to do this. So initially I started with Sam. So we got him right here. And I'm going to work either, let me see, it's either going to be Grace, Sujin, or Roland. I'm trying to figure out which one to do next. I might actually work on Grace first. So I used to get everything ready. Let me see. Book 1 characters. Grace. There we go. Put that down there. So character sheet for Grace is right here. And I'm going to leave this up somewhere where I can see it. It's probably going to cover the live, but that's okay. So let me see what we're going to do. Alright. I use this thing a lot, and right now it's acting funny. It's like when I had my older PC, this thing is Clip Studio tab, that's what they call it. And with this you basically can do a bunch of shortcuts on the little buttons, if you can see it. Sometimes it connects really good, sometimes it doesn't. It's like a really fickle tool. I don't know, it's just like that with my new PC. It wasn't like that with my older one. So like I did before, this is the blue line. I'm gonna just drop the opacity a bit, make a new layer. This one gonna be red pencil. And I mentioned this in the previous one. Well, that's if you heard me in the previous one, because again, I didn't have the mic setting set up the right way. I'll use blue line just to do a rough idea of what I want to do, and then I'll switch to red pencil to do like really more detailed work. So let me get this going a little bit. Once again, my tab is acting up kind of weird. And I'm gonna actually take off my glasses for this because I don't need it for this close. I'm gonna move my mic over a bit. I think you guys can still hear me, so that'll be a good sign. Alright, tab is working finally, and let's get doing this. It's on a 30 nib. Like too thick. You're gonna hear a lot of noise in the background, most likely. I live near a very busy street. It's a warm night, so I do have my windows open. I can hear it over my mic monitor, or my headphones, well, earphones actually. Now, some people might say it's like, why would you do pencils twice? Well, I tend to really sketch quickly. Like, I'll get my general idea out very quickly. But then I want to make sure I can refine it later on. So then that's why I started doing it in this way. Okay. I remember when I showed this design to a friend of mine, he said, "Why is the hair so weird?" Well, it's called silhouette. When you design characters, they should have like a very specific silhouette that no matter where they're standing on the page, what type of lighting can be around them, their silhouette tells you right away who they are. Good example would be like from DC Comics, Batman with the pointy ears in the costume. If you're into manga, I would say Goku with his hairstyle. Very easy to distinguish them. Lower the opacity a bit more. Very easy to distinguish them from all the other characters. And especially when you're doing like kind of like a jam piece, you want to make sure your character stands out. Oh, it's just like something that I learned too long ago. For the gallery pieces that I'm making, I'm kind of sticking to their like civilian type clothing. I'm not putting them in costume, costume, uniform, whatever you want to call it. Now, here's kind of a hard part. So, in order for me to remember what's what, I have to do this because she has like a specific pattern on her dress. So in order for me to remember where I have to put the specific toning, I'm gonna have to do this. That way I can remember. If not, I'm gonna be staring at this for a while, trying to figure out which it was supposed to be. Once it gets warm, everybody comes out with their mopeds, motorcycles, dirt bikes, whatever they got around here. Starts getting loud. I'm near fire department, police department, hospital, local airport. I'm near a lot of things, so it gets so noisy around here. So you're gonna hear a lot of noise in the background. Now, Grace is called her an illusion psychic. She's an illusionist. Her ability is basically creating illusions that can be so realistic that it does affect you physically along with mentally. But she is not known as like really as a hand-to-hand combatant. In the series, she does demonstrate that she does have some skill for hand-to-hand, but not too much. She's still very much a person in training right now. but I wanted to give her some kind of definition, at least like muscular definition. Didn't want her to look just too like what's the word I'm looking for? Maybe you guys can help me out with this. Yeah, I can't think of a word. I can't think of the word. I just didn't want her to look like too meek, because she has like kind of a bookish bookworm kind of look to her. She is a student still in this. I think initially when I did the character sheet on her, like profile wise and stuff like that, she's still a student. I think she's about 19 going on 20, I believe. I might be wrong. I would have to look it up, but that's like on a file somewhere that I have to like look it up. I am working from a brand new computer, so a lot of my files are in my external hard drive. I don't have everything in my new hard drive yet. Okay. But I didn't want her to look small compared to the other characters. I think I gave her, she's about like 5'8" in height. She has like a slight muscular build, not too big, but enough that you can understand like she can kind of hold her own in the situations that will be presented to her. Pretty much almost done with this part. So even though I'm saying the red line is supposed to be for more detail, I still go kind of quick because I already have everything ready to go onto the blue line. Take a quick look around. Internally, I don't draw their abilities right on it. I just have it as a reference, as you can see right here. Alright, I need my glasses again because tiny print. Okay, so take out the red line. That was the initial sketch right there. Take that out. That's with the red line. So from the red line, this is where I start doing my inking right away with it. And anybody working digitally, you know that it's good to have things in separate layers. You don't want to keep everything on the same layer. I lowered the opacity for red a bit. I'm gonna fix up my color settings here a little. Alright, move on. Alright, that should be good. Alright, hopefully my companion starts working, because I hate having to ink and this thing's not working. Always tends to mess up on me when I'm actually like really on a roll. Now, for the glasses themselves, I'm gonna use the shape tool. I tend to use the curve a lot when I'm doing this. I don't know, that's looking kind of thick. Yeah, that's looking pretty thick. I'm gonna make it a 10. Initially, when I created her, I was gonna use the fact that her glasses help her focus her ability, but I kind of found that to be redundant, kind of dumb, because I think I've seen it was done with like another character. I forgot which story, and it kind of works, but I don't think it'll be worthwhile for her. So I kind of like edited that out. Look at that, I said edited it. I made an edit so that I didn't really need that, and just kind of kept it there. Her eyesight's it's not bad, but it's not great either. kind of like what happens with me. Like for what I'm doing, I can't wear my glasses because I don't need it for close up. I need it for distance. So if I'm wearing my glasses to do this, I'm gonna like mess it up. Be careful with this tool because this tool, especially with the pen, sometimes messes up and thinks you're trying to create another line when you're not. Now I'm going to leave that for there right now. And I'm going to focus using the pen tool. I pretty much use G Pen for the inks. That's good right there. Put the eyebrows in. This one's going to be arched up a little bit more. Put that there. Now I'm trying to figure something out. Let's see. Do this a little bit more thickness underneath, just using it with the regular pen. Alright. Now again, going with silhouettes, you want to make sure any character you design, try to give them a unique silhouette so that way they stand out among everybody else that's in your roster. Alright. Normally what I would do is I would have made a separate layer for the glasses, but I'm trying to teach myself to try to do things in kind of one layer that's important. So everything that's inking should be just one layer. I don't want to have a bunch of separate layers. Now, one thing that I just noticed, I made the hairline too high. So I'm gonna have to fix that. Just kind of go around this for a moment. Go to red. Shortcut is K. And just lower it a little bit. That should be fine. Make sure I'm on the right layer. Yes, I am. Alright, let's get back to it. Normally, when I'm inking, now, because I'm doing just a single character, I always work from the top down. Because that way I can catch any little things that I might have messed up on. And I also do this because it's just been a habit of mine to always work from the top down. But if I'm inking an actual comic page, I jump around the page. I always start with the biggest areas first and work my way around that. Kind of messed that up. I'm right-handed, so it's kind of hard inking this with my right hand and trying to make it like one continuous smooth line going across. Thinner line for the lips. Okay, from here, I'm gonna leave this hand, the one that's near her forehead, I'm gonna leave that hand alone for now. because sometimes I mess up proportions in a way, and I won't realize it until I'm done, and then I'm gonna have to like erase it or start over or do something. But again, do this enough times, you start picking up on what your mistakes are, and then you start realizing what you have to do to avoid them later on. Now, as I mentioned before, all this right here, these patterns for her dress, it's something I also added on to her uniform. See, I don't like those lines. I'm gonna do those over. So I'm on 17, so I'm gonna do 15. Just use the curve line tool. Give it a little bit of shape. Now here's something that is interesting. Right here, right under this arm, this section right here, I messed up. That's why, like I said, I tend to work from the top down because I start catching all my mistakes. And another thing I mentioned in the previous live that I did this morning, but because I didn't have my mic set up the right way, it didn't pick up any audio. So I'm a genius with that. At least this time I was able to figure out what I did wrong, and that's why you guys are able to hear my voice and my voiceover on this. There was somebody who was also on TikTok mentioned that they don't like zooming in when they're doing their pieces because they feel like they can miss things. But I like to zoom in because right here, this area right here, I completely messed up when I was doing the pencil. It could have been the way the blue line was set up. It could have just been because talking and trying to do this at the same time, I messed that up. Not a horrible fix, easy way to fix it, but this is kind of one of the things that happened when you're not 100% paying attention to what you're doing. So let me see. I'm gonna finish. Yeah, I'm gonna finish right here. That's too much zoom. So I'm gonna work on the actual shape first before I go into any other details. So fix that part right there. Actually, get a little wrinkle to the close. Let's do this part again. Should be about right. Now I have a choice: either continuously using the curve line tool to do like the little rivets on the hem of the skirt and the top of the skirt, or just freehand it. I'm going with freehand. It's down. Okay, that's good. Now I'm going to work on the center part. Definitely going to be using this. Mess that one up. Trying to make sure it's lined up as close as possible. Alright, that's not bad. One thing I also learned is don't strive too much for perfection when you're doing this kind of stuff. It doesn't exist. There's never like a perfect line. There's lines in certain pieces that you might draw that you'd be like, this line is just like perfect, came out exactly the way I want it. But that's one line out of maybe like a couple of hundred that you threw down creating your pieces. Now this is where it's going to get a little tricky for me, because I want to make sure too much. Get like some type of shape there. Now here is hard because it's not a continuous curve in a sense. It's not following a strict uniform line. It's kind of doing something on its own. Now I can use continuous curve. Let's rotate it around a little bit. If you have noticed, I don't really rotate the page as I'm doing this. Okay. Let's see how this turns out. Alright. I'm going to see how it looks with the rest. Once I have her legs done and all that, let's see how it looks. That there. I think they're too thin. That was a bad line. That was a really bad line. I tend to experiment a lot when I'm trying certain pieces. Like I'll try to use different tools depending on what it's for. So again, I can use like the curve line tool just to get the boot to look nice. Curve line tool, you see, that's one of the reasons I gotta be careful. Some random line will show up when I'm not ready. I'm gonna freehand this part for her foot. Alright, hopefully my thing's not gonna go crazy right now because it just stopped moving. I'm still using version 2 of Clip Studio. And I was looking into upgrading, but then when I read the notes for the upgrade, I realized that what I've been showing you guys, this tab thing, doesn't work with versions 3 and up. I would have to buy a new one. Now what it comes down to is it worth it? Is it worth just having to do the upgrade and buying a brand new one, or just stick to using version 2, which pretty much has everything I really need, and just stick with this for now. One thing I will do here to make sure it doesn't look too flat, add a thinner line underneath. Same thing on this side. And I did freehand this boot completely. I didn't want to bother too much. Now, one thing I am going to do is I'm going to check the character sheet really quick, just to see if I'm missing anything. Might as well show you guys too. So, not really, just highlights on her boots, and that's pretty much the end for that one. That's her gray tone version, so I'm gonna need that in a few minutes. Okay. Oh, I'm so dumb. I still need to do her arms. I forgot about that. Oh Lord. Okay, let's get to it. Hands. The bane of pretty much every artist. Leave that over there. I think the reason hands are so hard to draw is because they can be very expressive. And I think that's one of the main reasons they're so difficult to draw, because they could be a character all their own. Like looking at somebody's hands, you can have a kind of good idea what they've done in their lives. Tells you if they've worked with their hands most of their lives, if they look rough. So I'm gonna probably fix this right here. Fix that there. Bring it up just a little bit so it doesn't look too long. Because I think I made the arms too long. So just so you guys know, I do apologize if I'm not greeting anybody coming on. Kind of focused on what I'm doing. It's just my habit. I have like I'm trying to think of the right word, but I don't like seeing empty arms on my characters. Like they have to have something on their arms, on their hands, things, something. I feel like maybe because I'm so used to daily, I do wear a watch, I do wear a bracelet. I feel like that's just part of who I am and what kind of would identify me. It's not too extravagant. Like the bracelet, it's just like a silver bracelet, and I've had it for years. My mom gave it to me so many years ago, and the watch is just like a watch I got for free because I have an account with T-Mobile, so I was able to get a free smartwatch. They say free, but it's not really free. You still gotta pay for the connection. It's not that it's expensive, but you kind of get the idea. Now, this is one of the reasons I said I wanted to save this arm for last, because I got to figure something out here. I think the arm is too long for what it's supposed to be. So, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to extend this part a little bit and move right to here. Get the hands in. and I'm gonna bring it down, or should I bring it up? Oh no, I know what I'm gonna do. Okay. Let's see, where was this thing? I want to make sure I get just the hand. Okay. Just gonna drop it down just a bit. That's why I left this for last, because I knew it wasn't gonna be the way I wanted it. It wasn't gonna look right. Leave that there, put that there. And there we go. Voila. Let's see. Alright. Now you just gotta finish her hair. Okay, that pretty much I think works. Let's turn off the red. And that's her right there. Now, one thing I did notice is that she's kind of high up on the page, so I'm just gonna bring her down a little bit, kind of center. And for the next part, it's going to be some details on a separate layer. So loud. Let's see, what was it? Oh, yeah, details. Make sure this thing is working again. The details mostly going to be on the boot. Give it that kind of leathery shine. Now there's two ways to do it. I can either just do it with my pen, or go to the shapes, get the lasso fill, just get a general shape around, and there we go. There's no wrong way of doing it. It's just whatever you find is quicker and easier to do. Especially if you're like working with deadlines, you want to be quick. Now, looks messy. I think it looks messy, so simple fix. Make sure I got the right eraser. Let's make it smaller. Just kind of cut in a bit, just a little. And then when I get the actual tone in, pretty much we'll fix it all up. Fix that up a bit. Okay, go to details again. And I've said it repeatedly. Always work separate layers depending on what you're actually doing. Try not to do everything on one single plane, because if you mess up, you might damage the surrounding. Now, for me, what I just did looks a whole lot better than what I did in the first place here. It just looks better. Again, taking this, cutting, and it's not this usually happens to me. Like, I'll do one side, it'll look great, then I'll do the next side and it'll look so much better. So easy fix, just cut, Let's do this fill again. And now that I did the other side, I kind of know what I should do here. I just remember it used to be, well, I'm still a fan of a cereal called Saint Seiya, and this is something they would do. The creator would do stuff like this for like leathers and for the armors. It's like blacks, just like that, like little swirly blacks, and I find it to be like the neatest way of doing it. One more time. Use the eraser just to cut in the a little bit. Oh, somebody's being loud. I think the Knicks are probably winning. It's the only time you hear that kind of noise around here. Okay. So now I gotta be careful with what I'm doing. Gotta make sure it's in the right place. Okay. Yeah, I know where I'm going with this. All right. Looks like the Knicks are winning. Everybody's honking their horns. No, I don't like that. I'm debating something here. Just forgive the silence, but I'm trying to think of what to do. It's on this side. So yeah, okay. Now I know what to do. Problem solving. I don't want it on that one, but I want it on this one. Or here. Here. A little bit darker. So these are just like basic shadow lines. I am not going to go too crazy putting too much shadow on her because once she is actually she's brown skinned, so when I put the tone it's going to be a certain tone of gray to represent that she has like that type of skin tone. But I don't want to overwhelm too much shadow here because once I add that tone, I'm going to add like another type of shadow into that tone. Just going to keep it simple. I am trying to remember what ethnicity she's supposed to be. I think she's supposed to be from India. I'm not too sure. I can't remember off the top of my head because I have it on the character. I don't have that on the character sheet actually. Now that I think about it, I never got that far because I tried not to put in that much info for characters because then eventually I might change my mind about it. Okay, but so this will probably be right about here. Oops, that was the eraser. Okay, that's good. Okay, now I'm gonna have to get into adding in tones. So usually when I do tone, I put it under all the inking layers. I don't have it over. Usually if you have it over, you would have to set it up as multiply, and what I realized that it does mess a little bit with the line work, especially if you're scanning in ink that you did by hand, like using Faber-Castell pens, Crow quills, Rapidograph, whatever it is that you like to use. I just noticed that when you do it and you don't have everything kind of like precisely within the lines, it bleeds into lines and it makes the lines like whatever color you're making it. So then it kind of messes it up. So since I'm doing everything digitally, everything is transparent, it's easier just to do tones right under all the layers. So tones, keep it at normal. And since I am specifically just going to be doing it over under the ink lines, I use the ink layer as a reference. So right there you can see like the little thing saying this is the reference layer. Go right here. I know my camera's in the way, but you can see all the layers that are important right there. Okay. Now this is where this gets interesting. I'm gonna put her up here. It's gonna be kind of blocking my view from the feed, but at least this way I can see what I'm doing. And now I'm gonna have to open it here, so now I can see what I have to use for this part. Well, like I said, she's brown skin, kind of like me. Brown hair, and I think I have a full color. I think I have a full color image. If you guys want to see what she looks like in color, let me see if I can find it really fast. It's interesting. That's what she actually looks like with color and everything. These are trading cards I'm designing for the comic, so that's a good way what you guys can see what she looks like fully colored. Say hi to a bunch of you guys. Forgive me for not like keeping up with everybody who's joining. I apologize for that. It's just once I start getting into this stuff, I kind of keep my focus on it. But this is what she looks like colored. Primary colors is mostly purples for her. Alrighty, so I'll close that because I don't want to have too many things open. And where was I? Oh yeah. I drop. Okay, hair and skin. Okay. Skin first. And I'm glad I researched a lot of this stuff for Clip Studio, because the way I used to do this for Photoshop, I used to use the lasso tool and having to select every single layer. I mean, not layer, but every section of the image just to get this done. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm trying to fix that right there. That's the only thing. Even if you think you got everything in, it sometimes messes. It doesn't grab everything. So you still have to get in and manually color in some sections. Okay. And here, okay, legs are good. Got the hands, got that. All right, now for the hair, you hold it down and you can just like slide it across, you can get the entire section, especially if it's all just in one place. I'm trying to get this thing to work again. This tab keeps like disconnecting. It's annoying. Forgot about her ear. Let's get the... Okay, tab is working again. Get this part done. Go around the eyes a bit. I'm trying to be careful with the glasses frame a little, because I don't want to color that in too much. Alright, let's see what's next. This is where I had to be really careful. So dark top, middle light. Okay, I have to remember that. Oh, I have her character sheet up here so I can watch it. Okay, let me get this done. Alright. All the middle is light. These sections are dark. Get the dark sections done first, since it's the most. Now, it might look like I'm losing information because it was so dark, but actually I am not. I still have all the information for the line work there. And that's like one of the things when you're working gray tones. There's only so many shades of gray that you can use. Without it looking like it's repeating over and over again. Okay, so this is dark also. And her skirt is light. And then the hem is dark. Get that done. Alright, let's see what I got here. That's fine, that's fine. This is gonna be like, I have it as white on the character sheet, but I'm just gonna make it, that matches her skin tone too much. There we go, that's a good color. A little good tone. Let me see, so no, I didn't do, well, that's what I actually supposed to do, so now I just remembered something, okay. Making the lips same tone, right there. I never really colored the inside of the mouth, I always leave it as is. I find it too much, and I find it a bit weird. Now with the boots. Let's see what I got here. Alright, I'm gonna fix some of these ink lines too, because some of them are just kind of sticking out and it looks bad. Like, I know I could probably do this as a vector image. I can avoid having to do all this stuff, but I like doing it. I like feeling that I got some sense of control. So I'm gonna lower this a bit. See where I'm at. Okay. See, inks. Done. Fix that. Now, when I started doing this in the comic, I made her shades, or her rim for her sunglasses, her glasses. This tone. I always try to be consistent with the tones. Alright, I don't know what happened there. I just had some weird message come up saying there was inactivity in the live, even though I've been here this whole time. I haven't even stood up once. It's kind of killing me a bit. I'm gonna be done in a few minutes. Alright, that's good. Alright, so I got all that done. And now comes the next part. I want to say hi to everybody who's come in while I've been doing this. Now I gotta see. Now what's gonna happen here is gonna be what I've been doing with the majority of the the pieces I'm making for the gallery on my website. So you can always check out bleedingincomics.com, and you're gonna see a lot of the art that I did for this series, Psychic Revolution. Put all this in one folder, call it Grace. I'm gonna turn all these off right here. I don't need these anymore. Now, what I've been doing, you're gonna notice that if you go to the website, that they're almost all in black background. What I didn't do that for Sam. I felt it looked better with him having this type of background behind him. But I'm starting to debate if I should just make it also just a black background like I did with the others. Still don't know. I'm still debating it, but with Grace, it's definitely going to be a black background. And best way to do that, new layer. Now, I want to save myself some time, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make an outline around her. Doesn't have to be perfect, it's got to be close enough. It's getting all around her. Yeah, it looks bad right now, but trust me, I know what to do after this just to make it look better. So that's that. I gotta make sure I get over here. Control Shift I to invert. Now I might have been wrong. I'm about to find out. No, I'm not. I was right. Okay, excellent. But wrong shade of black. So I gotta do this all over again. Let me pick the right one. Okay. Now, technically, what would happen normally is I would just put the black on the entire page and then just erase all around her. But that takes a long time. And frankly, I don't want to bore you people who have been sticking with me, seeing that I'm just going to be erasing in an image. So I'm just going to do this really quick. Deselect all of this. Alright, are we working? Yes, we are. Or no, we're not. Yes, we are. Tab is working again. Yay. Take my glasses off again because I gotta pay attention to what I'm doing. And pretty much is gonna make all around her. This right here, like that. Now, what I'm gonna try to do is I'm not gonna try to paint everything. I just want to make an outline around her. And then I'm going to show you right now what you can do too. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but it can be close enough. Paint bucket tool, I fill in the rest. So I'm going to try to do the same thing right here. It's right there. Just like that. And then at any moment you can come in with the eraser, fix it up a little bit if it's like not to your liking. You can also help by lowering the opacity a bit, so that way you can see where your actual line work is when you're doing this. You know how to like guess it. And this is just my way. I'm just doing this. This is how it is. I know there's probably Clip Studio Paint experts out there who would see this and say like, "Oh my God, I can't believe he did that." But this is how I do it. I feel like I have a bit more control. I'm not leaving it up to the software to kind of semi-decide what I'm doing. As I go along, I just do little fixes. Just like that. Nothing too crazy. And it's a process. All honesty, this is all the process. You guys who are watching, the artists yourselves, you get it. It's all the process. You try to do the best you can with what you have. I don't consider myself that great of a illustrator, artist, whatever you want to call it. Very much self-taught. Had a friend teach me Photoshop in the most like guerrilla fashion you can imagine. Just sat me down, gave me the basic rundown, and just told me, all right, now make it your own. Create things how you want to create them. There's no wrong way. And I kind of have always stuck to that. That's why when I had people ask me, like, do you teach? I'm like, I can show you the basics. Give me 3 hours. I'll show you the basics of everything you need to do when it comes to digital. Especially if you already have a good grasp of how to draw already. But me having to actually like teach somebody how to draw or how to do things the way I do it, it's not like I don't want to be selfish about it, but I don't find like it'll be possible because if you ask 100 illustrators, 100 artists, 100 comic book artists, whatever you want to call them, how they do things, you're gonna get 100 different answers, and some of them might be similar. Some of them are gonna be like crazily different, but it's a guarantee you're not gonna have somebody doing exactly the same thing. Like years ago, comic books, they did have something they would call a house style. Like you had to draw and produce things the way they wanted it done because it was just more efficient. If everybody did it the same way, there was no like real mistakes in the pipeline. And it was an interesting way of doing things. I don't know how many people actually enjoyed doing it like that, but that's how they would produce comics so quickly. A good example will be like Image Comics when they first started. Everybody colored the same way. If you look at their early comics, it was obviously Photoshop, and everything was like really into using gradients for a lot of the image. And every comic you got pretty much followed the same thing. I was like, I'm a big Jim Lee fan, so I followed his stuff most. Wildcats, Stormwatch, and what else did he do? Death Blow. And if you looked at it, you realize, like, yeah, they kind of all had the same process. There was not much variation when it came to the color, when it came to the inking, paneling, things like that. It was very similar because this is what Jim Lee wanted. This was his house. This is what he wanted from the people working with him. And then if you went to Rob Liefeld's side, it was the same thing. Like everybody who worked for him pretty much was emulating his style of drawing. So you kind of saw it. And as a kid at the time, I really didn't pay attention to it. Like I didn't really realize it. And it didn't hit me until I got a bit older. I remember reading Wizard magazine when it was still being printed. Yeah, that kind of shows you my age. And it was always interesting, like how they would interview certain artists when they came from different companies, like how they did things. Sometimes they would have like a behind the scenes for the studios, and I used to love that because it was a great insight to see how they did things. Nowadays, there's still studios out there, but a lot of artists tend to work from home. Everything is done digitally, electronically, so they don't have to actually physically be inside of an office per se to do their work. And I always thought that would be like such an awesome thing. Like, yeah, I'm gonna be at home, I'm gonna be drawing, but you kind of like miss having people around, and you miss having somebody you can bounce ideas off of. And that's like something I'm kind of missing myself right now because I don't have a lot of artist friends. I don't have a lot of friends that are into this right now. This is like my thing. They know me for this. Like the friends I have know me for this. They know I know how to do this. But if I ask them like, oh, do you want to draw something? You want to collaborate on something? They don't have the necessary skills to actually do it. I have one friend. She's a wedding photographer, really great at photography, but can't draw a stick figure. So as funny as it sounds, but that's actually when it comes down to. And it's this is relatively a small community, I believe. It'll be great to meet in person with other artists, share ideas, bounce ideas off of each other. And sometimes it's good because you might have an idea that you think was like the best thing ever, and it's actually the dumbest thing. But because you don't have somebody tell you, you go with it. And I think that's something that you need. That's why if you have somebody who knows a lot about literature, or knows a lot about like novels and things like that, they have a good grasp. They can be editors for you. I'm pretty much a one-man show when it comes to my comic. I do everything on my own. Kind of lonely, but I'm very protective also. And I think I don't think that's just me. I think that's in general with a lot of creatives. They're very protective of what they're doing. And for them to like open up and have somebody else come around and touch their work, it's like somebody's trying to take your baby. Okay, close enough. All right, I need my glasses again because I can barely see right now. My eyes are starting to get tired. I've been at this for an hour and 15 minutes. She's actually taking a lot longer to finish than what I did this morning with Sam. So my little tab is finally working again. Now here's the hard part. And it's a hard part because I have to use concentric circle tool. And honestly, it's a pain sometimes to get it right where you want it and how you want it to work. Because let me see if I can open this up again. Let's see. As you can see, concentric circles. That's how her pattern signature looks. And it's actually a bit more detailed than that, but that's just the general idea. Alright, I'm not going to need this anymore. Oh, it's a character sheet. Once again, moving on to new layer. Just going to call it power for now. And since everything is black, I'm obviously going to use white. All right, ruler, special ruler. Concentric circles. So I'm going to start right where her hand is. Not where her head is, but where her hand is. Trying to get a good. Yeah, I think that's gonna work. And I just start drawing circles. Trying to find a good nib size. I don't want them too thick. I don't want them too thin. I gotta move this down a little bit. So that's good. It's good for now. Now I'm just gonna move object. Nope, not what I wanted. It's so weird because sometimes I can do this without a problem. Sometimes it gives me a problem. Like you see, that's just going up and down, and sometimes I'm able to move it. I don't know why I can't do it now. That locks it. Yeah, it's stuck there. So I have to do what I don't want to do. Delete the ruler and make a new one. Probably figure it out later, but this is one of the reasons I always say try to do things on as many layers as possible. Hold down shift to make it round. Yeah, it's moving the whole thing again, so I gotta use object tool. Yeah, it's so weird how it behaves. I'm gonna just figure this out later. I'm not gonna kill myself right now about it. But here we go. I want it right on her hand. Hold down shift. See. Move the grid. Nope. I'm gonna move the layer. Do I want to move the layer? No, I don't. I want to move the object. Oh, you see, now you're moving around how you want to move around. So I think I have to actually not pick the middle axis, but pick one of the top ones where you can like shrink and do all that stuff. Oh, it's a learning process. Always a learning process. Take glasses off because I want to just draw this as close as possible. Now that I figured out how to do the movement, now I'm debating something. Alright, that should work. That's what I'm saying. Alright, now that I got that done, turn it off, zoom in a bit, and what I'm going to do, because it's kind of messy, I'm going to erase what I don't need. Just erase a little bit, not too much, just so her face isn't covered up. Now, what was I going to do? Oh, yes. I was going to try something on the actual layers themselves. Add glow. See if I can make it like a tone. Okay, now that I got that part done, now I'm gonna move back to her, and I'm just gonna do some light airbrushing for her, like it's for lighting. So, and this is done as an overlay. Strictly use black and white. I'm gonna turn off that because I already know where it is. And this is what I was saying before when I was doing the detailed shot, like shadows on her arms and stuff like that. Let me see where that layer went to. That's tone, grace, and grace details. You can see like there's some details already on her. So that's kind of going to be a little bit of a guide for me now that I'm going to do this part. I start always shadows first. Okay, on one. Just very light, doesn't have to be too heavy. You have to be careful in certain areas. Okay, so I got that part done. So now I'm going to go in for highlights because I already got the shadows in. Some quick highlights around. I don't go too crazy. I just make sure that it doesn't look flat. It's very, very minimal. And I'm trying to stick to more minimal lighting and shadowing because when I did these books the first time, I kind of went overboard with it, and it took me a lot of time to like finish just a page. Okay, let's get some highlights on the boots, especially because it's supposed to be like leathery. Put it in. Put some black highlights in here. Especially under this, because this is supposed to be a little bit more like beveled out, so it should. Come here. Right. It's not perfect, it's just right. It's just enough so it doesn't look flat. That's the one thing I'm trying to avoid, having it look too flat. So I'm thinking this is pretty much done. Last thing I'm gonna do I'm going to sign it. When I tried to do this earlier, my signature came out very bad, but let's try it again. And that's about it. This is Grace Evans, the Illusion Psychic from Psychic Revolution. You can get my comic on the TikTok shop. Psychic Revolution Volumes 1 and 2 are available as a bundle. You can get them both for $20. Just so you guys can see. So this is Grace. This is what I was working on right now. And this is what I did earlier today, but there was a problem with the actual sound. So everything I was talking about did not come out. And that sucks. So now I have to go back to that video and do a voiceover. That's going to be fun. But right there you see Sam Reed, the Wind Psychic. And we got Grace Evans, the Illusion Psychic. And probably tomorrow we're going to work on this guy, Sujin Pak, the Sound Psychic. All right. Thank you, everybody who joined. Glad you guys stuck around for as long as this was running. Took an hour and a half. But I'm happy with the results. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. But I had a lot of things happen personally that delayed me doing this and actually doing my own comic. Hopefully all this stuff that I'm going through right now gets resolved and I can move forward and keep creating my books. Again, thank you all for coming, and I'll see you on the next one. Have a good night.